Derek mentioned last night that he feels like his success early has been to the fact that he feels comfortable here. He said it starts with you. It's translated in the clubhouse. For him to make this early impact, how important is that for a player?
It's awesome. That's cool to hear, because that's kind of what we pride ourselves on, and I pride myself on, is just making sure guys know it's a competitive environment. And obviously, we're with our roster the way it is, and with Danny coming back, there's going to be some competitiveness to getting in the lineup. So I told him that the expectations were to come in and help us, especially against right-handed pitching. And the one thing about Derek, man, he's ready, he's prepared, and that's where he kind of fits right in with the rest of the guys, because it's a very prepared group that I can trust, even when they're not playing. If I need to pinch hit them, or if they haven't played for a few days, they're going to be ready. And he kind of fits that mold. So he's been a pleasure so far. He brings a lot of energy and a lot of kind of spunk to the clubhouse. You can hear him chirping sometimes during the game. He's got a good sense of humor, and it keeps everything light.
Kolby mentioned before his last start that the routine, the fact of knowing he's starting, he felt like was going to help him, and it seemed like it did in his last start. Now it's 7 days off. Are you concerned at all about that routine getting altered, or do you think that's more of a mental thing of, I'm a starter, not a reliever?
Yeah, I do worry about it a little bit, just from a standpoint of execution. It's hard for pitchers. Some guys, even if they have one extra day off, they don't like it. So, he's had quite a few off, trying to keep him sharp. I know he's thrown some bullpens and tried to maintain that sharpness, but it is tough. So, I fully expect Kolby to go out and dominate today like he expects to. But I do expect there to be some moments where, maybe the execution isn't what he would like. That's kind of normal, I guess. But the kid is so prepared. He follows, Mike Minor around, and some of these guys, he's got great guys to look up to as far as how to prepare. I fully expect him to be ready today, and he's going to give it his best. I know that.
Wearing your Negro Leagues shirt, 100th anniversary, just, how important now, especially in this climate, is it to educate the younger players, everyone in general, just about the importance of that league? Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I think, I don't think I knew enough about it, and that's on me to not have known that as a baseball. I love the game, and, love the history of the game, and there's so many things I didn't understand and know about it. So, getting to talk to Bob Kendrick, who, works at the Negro League Hall of Fame, it's pretty amazing to just educate yourself and learn about some of the things that they started. Just the way the game is played. A lot of what we do today, they began, and they had some of the best players in the world that, unfortunately some of us didn't get to see, and we don't have video of. But, to hear stories, to hear Bob tell stories was, I was fascinated, and I just can't wait to kind of dig in more and just learn more about kind of what they had to go through, and some of the great players, the great names that maybe aren't household names that we know. That's it for me. Thank you, Woody.
Okay, other questions for Woody? TR.
So Woodward, what is your plan for Mike Minor tomorrow as far as pitch counts and all of that neat stuff?
I would say it's pretty normal. He feels pretty good. He feels fine. He's actually, I think, pitching the second day, but he feels good. He feels close, about as close to normal as we expect. So that's a great sign moving forward. He felt good coming out of the 4 innings that he threw the last time. So I don't know if it's 85, 90 pitches, 100 pitches. We'll see. But we're obviously going to keep a close eye on him to make sure we like what we're seeing, and he feels good every inning. And if he does, then I almost treat it as like a normal start.
You have Charlie Pride. He played in excuse me, in the Negro Leagues. Have you ever had a chance to talk to Charlie about that, or what does it mean to have Charlie in your organization?
Yeah, it means a lot. I said, I think we all have. He sat my office a few times in spring training and just kind of told me a bunch of stories about, just his experiences. And it's amazing how much he remembers in detail about some of the at-bats and some of the things he had to, get guys out with, and the names that he throws out there. I mean, it's pretty remarkable hearing his stories. I've talked to, Maury Wills and a bunch of, older guys that played with a bunch of guys that, Jackie Robinson, that came from the Negro League. So I'm fascinated by it, and I think we all should be, because it's a big part of our history in our country, but also in this game. Obviously, it's a huge part of our history of baseball.
Okay. It's Lyles and Minor, the 2 games at home. Lyles pitching tomorrow. Evan.
Yeah, I was just going to double check on that because your probables listed Lyles. So you're giving Minor just basically an extra day off. That you kind of swapped them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's just to give him an extra day of rest.
Yeah, and to keep Lyles on the same.
To just kind of keep piling up that reservoir of energy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and for Mike, it's important just because we want to make sure he's healthy. We need him to be fully healthy as we go on the second half of the season.
All right, Woody, I've got one of my out of left field questions, but when you were a young player, either in the minor leagues or at spring training, did you ever have a roommate situation that was particularly memorable with guys who ended up playing in the big leagues also? What was that like? Who were the guys?
Yeah, I think my first 4 years in the minor leagues, I was roommates with Casey Blake, and we both kind of came up at the same time in Toronto. So I got called up first, and then probably 2 weeks later he got called up as well. So to just spend so much time, and we were actually roommates on the road and at home, which was pretty rare because usually you had a different roommate. There were times I got sick of him, but he ended up becoming probably my best friend, in baseball, just because of that. We were pretty much polar opposites. He's from Iowa, I was from Southern California. He loved country music. I didn't. So it was just there's a lot of I learned to love George Strait somehow because of that. But it was just amazing how you get to know somebody who comes from a completely different. We had a lot of common, bonds as far as who we were as people, but to know somebody.
And what's the benefit of that? Like just as a baseball player, because you're both young guys. I would imagine like there's an incredible number of baseball conversations.
It's funny because a lot of what I talk about culture-wise in the big league atmosphere, stems from what I got to witness and feel and be a part of in the minor leagues. Minor leagues is far different than anything you'll ever do because nobody's really making any money. There's some high draft picks that sign for some money. I think nowadays maybe more, but the bonds that you guys share in the minor leagues, I mean, it's a grind. I mean, it's an absolute grind. So you're having to basically live with people for the first time. You're having to go through experiences with people for the first time, from all over the world. And so it really is a fascinating experience, and that's why I kind of look at sometimes the tightest units I've ever played with have been in the minor leagues. And so we're trying to create that same kind of feeling in the big leagues, even though guys are making a ton of money. We can still do that here. And I've never seen it done in the big leagues, only on certain teams where it's somewhat close. But if you ask anybody, their closest bonds were always with guys in the minor leagues because you're grinding to try to get to somewhere. If we can have that same grind here, it'll be a huge advantage just from a culture standpoint.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions for Woody? Alex.
Woody, is there a target date for Danny Santana yet?
Yeah, I think we potentially might activate him today. I don't know. We're still kind of talking through that, but he'll be ready. I mean, he could DH right now. He could probably play first base. Second base is still kind of. I think he could do it. We just got to be careful, with his arm. I think eventually, within a week, we're hoping he can play everywhere on the infield. And if that's the case, then we have a ton of flexibility in what we can do or what I can do, especially in game. I still don't see outfield being an option for at least another week or two. But right now, I'm kind of focusing on first and second base as being potential. Him being able to play those positions will help a ton.
Does that make it difficult with the success you're seeing from Frazier, with Kiner, and then with Dietrich and trying to get Odor his at-bats as well to try to – because, I mean, a roster spot, somebody on that position player squad is going to have to get sent.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've actually been really open and honest about that with all those guys. Typically when we face a right-handed pitcher, you have three guys basically that are going to be in the lineup pretty much unless they're struggling or I give them a day off. And there's going to be 5 spots for 7 guys. I mean, that's just they got to do the math. And some guys are going to get off, whether that's a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter. These guys, I want to see everybody play. I want to give everybody an opportunity. Danny's a big part of our team. He was our starting center fielder. He was our 3-hole hitter to start the season. So he deserves an opportunity to be in the lineup when he returns. So it's it's a puzzle that I'm gonna have to figure out and try to keep everybody happy, which is impossible. But I just ask all these guys to be professional and make sure that they're not pouting or getting upset that they're not playing as much as they would like.
Thanks, Woody.
Other questions for Woody? Jeff?
When Danny hit the IL, he was 1 for 17 to start the season. So he's always been able to swing, it seems like. So what work has he been able to accomplish on that front?
Yeah, he looks pretty good. I mean, obviously it's only in live BPs, and anytime we have the taxi squad playing, he jumped in there and got live at bat. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, he didn't get off to a great start, but I feel like the work he's put in, since he's been hurt, he looks pretty good right now. And I'm starting to see the Danny Santana that we got to see a lot last year that pretty much carried our team for months. So I want to get him back in there. If we can get Danny Santana rolling, I mean, he's a big part of our offense. So if we can get him kind of hot and get him, he can carry us for the rest of the year. We need him. We need him in the lineup.
Thank you.
Other questions? I'll take. Okay, we'll go to Chris.
Just really quick, just another option to talk about at first and second, just in that flux of players that you've got there. But obviously he's been kind of pushed down. But Ronald Guzman, what is he doing at the alternate site? Is he improving at the plate? Just from what you've seen, what's going on there?
Yeah, all the reports I've been getting, I've seen him a few times. Obviously, when the taxi squad plays when we're at home in the mornings, if I see him play, listen, his at bats have been better. His swing looks better. He's been working really hard. I know that obviously our hitting guys here have been communicating with our guys on the other side to kind of make sure he sticks with what he started on this side. He looks more controlled. It looks smoother. It's not as forced of a swing. It's not. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say against live BP, but at the same time, it does look better. And I know he's been working really hard. His attitude's been great. Everything that all the reports I've been getting are glowing reports. Now I don't know what that translates to on the field as far as how much success he would have, but it's good to hear that he's really sticking to the plan and he's working his butt off.
Okay, we'll take two more real quick. Rick Renner and then Evan.
Hey, Woody, question for you on Dietrich. Kind of amazing that, he was kind of flapping in the wind there, released by 2 teams in 3 weeks. Does that surprise you in that he's such a difference maker that he was kind of, so-called flapping in the wind there? And does it motivate him, do you think?
Yeah, I think it does motivate him. I think he was, listen, he's a good player. He's always hit right-handed pitching. He's a decent defender. He's worked really hard at, his defense and come up as a great defender, but he's worked hard at it, takes a lot of pride in it, takes a lot of pride in pretty much everything he does. He's a little bit of a polarizing figure at times. I think maybe that kind of scares people. But listen, his heart is gold. He loves to win. He loves his teammates. He's been nothing but awesome since he's come here. He doesn't really care what the other team thinks of him, which I kind of applaud. I don't really care either. So, listen, he's been obviously a good impact for us. He's done it on the field. He's done it in the clubhouse. So, I mean, that's all we can really ask out of a player. I don't know why, he was flapping in the wind, as you would say, but we're happy to have him.
Just curious, back in your playing days, would you ever consider wearing all those chains and having all that shine?
Yeah, you never saw pictures of me with all those chains on? That's the one thing I love is diversity. I love that guys can be themselves as long as they fit the mold of what we're trying to do here. They're not going to get in the way, obviously, of a culture and a drive to win a championship. We need that. I don't want everybody to be like me. It'd be boring. It'd be a really boring clubhouse. I need guys with some chains, with some different flavor, with some different, I need guys that are loud. We need that. We kind of need that to kind of spread throughout the clubhouse and everybody to be themselves. It just makes for obviously a much more enjoyable experience for all of us, and we kind of appreciate everybody because we got people from all over the world, and I don't want to make everybody the same. We don't need robots out there. We need people to be themselves.
Thanks, Woody.
Last one, Evan.
I just don't want this conference call to go without Emily being the only one to ask a lineup question. So I just went back and looked at this, and this is Kiner's third off day. You've got only one guy who's played and started every game, and that's Elvis. And is there a reason why he hasn't gotten an off day given kind of the struggle that he's endured all season?
I think it's just because of the position he plays. I know that I can put Kiner there, but when I put Kiner there, then it changes everything around. And I think that's probably why. But Elvis will get a day off. I plan on probably giving him a day off, and I don't know if it's the 2 games in San Diego or at home against San Diego. Probably one of those games, maybe off. I've been trying to figure out a way to give him off. Other guys have been kind of ailing at certain body parts that I wasn't allowed to. And like I said, it's just when the shortstop position is the toughest to fill, just because we don't have as much depth there. Kiner being really the only guy that I would put there right now. So, and more of that has to do, Elvis. And listen, I mean, he needs to obviously perform, and he's been better lately. He's been hitting the ball better. But he is one guy that he's pretty reliable, and that's what kind of makes Elvis pretty special. It's hard to find a reliable shortstop. So
he pushes up every game. He's ready to play every day.
He is. He takes a lot of pride in that. But he'll definitely get days off coming up probably soon. I just got to make sure everybody's healthy. So when I put guys in there and I have to move guys around, it's a lot of juggling when I have to replace the shortstop, just because we don't have as much depth there.
So many different places going different places.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Woody.
I am.
So do you just kind of chalk this one up to weird and I don't know. It seemed like the defense was off. Kolby, after that first inning, couldn't get it going. What do you take from this one?
Yeah, it just shows you the importance. And obviously I stress it. We stress the importance of every play and how critical they are. Now, I'm not going to point to one specific play, but in this game, it does kind of revolve around one play. It's like, if we turn that double play, and Rugi obviously knows that. Talking to him after the fact, he understood, 5 runs scored. If we turn that double play, everything is different. You give a team like that in this ballpark, with that lineup, an extra out, and we gave him a couple of extra outs that inning, but that was the big one. Just kind of gave him life. And Tapia, this is why we preach it as an offense. If we get that extra walk or that extra hit, Tapia had a great at bat. Ends up getting a hit after however many 8, 9 pitches, 10 pitches, and at that point Kolby's kind of out of gas, and he ends up throwing 40 pitches in that inning. And if it wasn't for Blackman's running to second base, I would have had to take him out. And Kolby battled. Came out the next inning. He fought through it, but that just it takes you down. When your starting pitcher has to throw 40 pitches in an inning, it's pretty much game over at that point to keep him out there. So it's it's a good lesson for us. We have to finish those plays off. We have to finish those innings off, because this is what happens. It would have been a totally different game.
Are you concerned at all about the defense? It doesn't seem like it's been terribly crisp the last couple of games.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. I'm not going to be shy about it. We haven't really played good defense. I know early on we didn't play great as well. We had a stretch there where we were playing pretty good, but we got to play better defense, especially if we want to contend. And if we get into playoff games, we got to get down to the playoff stretch, to execute those plays. That's just a fact. It's the bottom line. We got to get better.
Now, heading back with a couple of home games, how important is it to start establishing, some sort of home field advantage? And how do you guys do that in a relatively new ballpark with no fans?
Yeah. Well, we can control the fan noise, so we can make it louder if we want to. But I think we do. I think we have. Obviously, our last homestand we played really well. I think we know teams coming in there don't know our ballpark. They've never played on it. They don't know how it plays, and we do now. So getting the last homestand, 5-1. Obviously we have a very, very short homestand this time around. So hopefully we can find a way to win a couple games against our old coach in Tang.
That's it for me, Woody. Thank you.
Any other questions, please? Evan.
Woody, on the second inning, you're saying that if on that play Blackman hadn't run himself into an out, that was Allard's last pitch at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like 39 pitches. I can't let him go any more.
Okay. As far as the defense goes, do you get in bad streaks? Can you get in a bad streak defensively as a team?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of, hopefully at the big league level, you don't run into too many, bad streaks on defense. But yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of a flow to it. You look around, the way the field kind of plays out, we kind of feed off each other and guys make plays. You take a lot of pride in it. And I know our guys do. Our guys get out. It's not a lack of that. It's just, we just got to be a little bit more focused on, finishing off plays.
And you had no doubt that double play relay, if it's accurate, that beats Kemp to the bag.
You know what? I don't know. I obviously didn't have a chance to see the video. It seemed like it.
Okay.
With Kemp running, I got to give Kemp credit. Like, he could have easily just pulled up and not run hard to first base, and it seemed like he was running hard from where I was looking at. But that's one that I would expect to turn with Matt Kemp running. And I think that our guys would say the same thing.
Great, thank you.
Other questions for Woody? Jeff?
It seems like Elvis is getting closer at the plate. Would you agree?
He looks better, yeah. I mean, you see he's hitting some balls. He's been really unlucky lately. I think this kind of dates back to the homestand we had. He hit some balls really good to center field. He hit 2 balls here that, unfortunately, we're in the deepest part of the ballpark, and then he hit a line drive to right field today. So, yeah, he looks better. He definitely looks better. He's hitting the ball harder, getting the ball in the air more, not as many ground balls to the middle of the field. So it's looking better for sure.
All right, thank you.
Couple more. TR?
This kind of brings up a point I've often wondered about. Odor was on the shortstop side on that play in the shift. When teams shift, do you sometimes sacrifice some potential angles for plays like that, getting them out of their normal position?
Yeah, just traditional. I think that's on us to work through it. I was an infield coach for 5-6 years, so those are things you have to work on as a player now. It's no longer just stand in your traditional spot while you're taking your ground balls. You got to go. If you're a second baseman, you got to be in right field. You got to be in the hole, turning double plays, knowing the footwork. It's just different. But that's not an excuse, because we know that. We know that we're going to be on that side of second base. We know we're going to be in the hole. So it's on all of us to kind of just make sure we get the reps in that we need.
Anything else for Woody today? Let's go to Chris.
A couple of younger pitchers, Wes Benjamin. What'd you see from him in his major league debut, and then Taylor Hearn making another appearance?
Yeah, I thought our guys did a good job. Honestly, I knew it. I kind of knew what to expect with Wes. I knew he was going to throw the ball to the plate, and he hadn't thrown in a while. So I expected a little bit of lack of sharpness, but he was good. I think the Colorado air maybe kind of played into some of those balls that were hit. To be honest with you, his fastball had been playing pretty good up in the zone. A couple guys got on top of it. The Butera double, was a pitch that typically would move maybe 2 or 3 inches further down, in a normal air. And the guy, give those guys credit. They stayed on those pitches, but he threw the ball to the plate. He attacked him. He used his changeup late. Had a couple punch outs to end it. He didn't give in. Taylor, same thing. After the walk, did a really good job. Attacked the strike zone for the next 3 hitters and did a good job. That Herget threw the ball really well. Chavez came in and 1, 2, 3 as well. So I thought those guys did a good job for us.
And just really quick, can you kind of go into what happened with Brett Martin?
I guess it's been bothering him for a few days now. I don't know where it is in his shoulder, but he's just been sore, and it just wasn't getting better. He was kind of throwing through it, and it just felt like it wasn't getting any better. So we decided to kind of shut him down and evaluate him, move him back to Texas, and make sure that we can get him healthy. We need him in our bullpen.
All right, thanks, Woody.
One more. Evan, last question.
Hey, the other thing I just wanted to make sure on is Hampson was given a single on that ball to Dietrich, where he flipped an Ocasio. That was a play you thought that should be made too?
That's a tough one. That's a twinger. That's one where you know, if Dietrich knows that Rugi can kind of come over and get that ball, you know, Rugi's playing up the middle. So it's kind of in that no man's land. If the first baseman goes after it.
Not the pop-up, the ground ball to first base in the
That's what I'm
fifth.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's a tough one because if the first baseman goes after it, now it becomes a foot race between a leadoff hitter and Juan Nicasio. And Juan Nicasio is not the fastest guy in the world. So I kind of figured once that happened that, you know, he was going to beat it out.
Okay.
So